the wild card series, I feel like, was wild and crazy, and I was surprised by a few things. Were you surprised by anything?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by what went on. One of the things I was mostly surprised about was that it wasn't as wild as I was hoping, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
there was some wild and crazy stuff that went on. And there
Yeah,
was some like you said, unexpected stuff that went on. The Rangers beating the Rays. I wasn't, you called that. I wasn't expecting to see that. The Twins beating the Blue Jays the way they did.
all right,
The
yes.
D-backs beating the Brewers the way they did, and then also the way that the Phillies just crushed the Marlins. Like, there's your recap right there, pretty much.
I I thought the Phillies would just beat the crap out of the Marlins, but I also think that they're about to get ground pounded by Atlanta. So it'll be interesting
Right.
to see if we're right continuing. So the first question I have, I agree with everything you said, particularly about Minnesota. I feel like they came out and played a different brand of baseball than I've seen from them most of the season. Now, that could be by virtue of my not paying very close attention to Minnesota baseball, or and you know, just having a general understanding of them and the team, or this is a new gear for them. The pickoff attempt by Sonny Gray, it was just out of this world.
That was next level. Like, that was not something that I would have expected from him.
Right.
Absolutely on brand for Carlos Correa. And I don't know if he's the one who called it, and if he's the one who was like, "Look, we got an opportunity. Let's
Yeah.
take it." Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, think of the three, like you have to have at least three people involved in calling that. The catcher can call it. The pitcher has to be aware of the signal, receive it, and indicate that it's going to be the play is on. Or you can be the shortstop in Correa and call for it, and then make sure it
Mhm.
gets relayed to the catcher to then relay it to the pitcher, and then he has to signal that he understood and he's willing to play the game. So
Right.
it's like imagine the potential for everything going wrong, and it didn't. It was amazing.
And it was close too. Like, did you see the
Yeah,
replay on it? Because the
yeah,
Blue Jays challenged because
they
Vlad
did.
was certain that he was safe, that he beat the tag, and it was so close
Yeah,
that if he did miss the tag, it was not evident, right?
yeah,
Based
I
on what we
agree.
saw with the camera angles and everything that was available there, that
Right,
there was one that made it look closer than the others, but the
sure,
rest
I
was like,
agree.
but yeah, you know.
Yeah. So the Twins have ended a 19-year postseason losing streak. They last won a postseason game in 2004, and they last won a postseason series in 1991. Holy cannoli!
When they won the World Series.
Right, that's right. So Brad's not going to complain about the Mariners ever again, is what he's saying.
At least for a couple minutes.
Yeah, for like the next 20 minutes, you're not going to do that. So the I think the talk of the town right now concerning that series is why Jose Barrios was removed. He was taken out of a tie game in the fourth inning. He'd only throw 47 pitchers, runner on first,
And he
and then
struck out 5 guys, Brig. He'd
I know
struck out 5 guys out of 9 outs that he'd recorded.
it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. Then Kikuchi gets brought in and gave up a couple of runs, which was plenty. And definitely, obviously, that sort of, I don't know, was it predetermined? Was
It
this?
had to have been predetermined. It had to have, like, the front office. I'm assuming the GM and John Schneider got together and they were like, okay, look, if Barrios gets anybody on after 3, we got to pull him. Kikuchi was up warming in the bottom of the 3rd. Yeah.
Hmm.
No,
Was
I
it
guess it
that
would have
far
been
in
the top. It would
advance?
have been before that inning. He wasn't.
Really?
That wasn't a rushed warm up job for Kikuchi. No,
Right,
he
right, right.
was, because that would have been the bottom of the 4th. I think he was warming up in the top of the 4th or the bottom of the 3rd. One
Wow.
of those two. He
I
was
didn't
getting
catch
ready in the
that.
pen, and they were ready to bring him in. And they even asked Schneider about it between innings. They said, "Are you going to keep Barrios out there?" And he said, "Well, obviously in a game like this, you've got to." Basically, you got to empty the tank and pull out of the stops, right? Like, he said all the things that you say, all the
Right.
cliches in this situation. but he didn't really address Kikuchi potentially coming in. He didn't say anything like, well, we kind of got to have a short leash on our pitchers today to keep everything in order. But sure enough, he did. And I think, honestly, that was what lost in the game.
I do too.
Like, there were a couple close calls later, you know, like Vlad Guerrero getting picked off. Like, that's just I don't even want to say they caught him sleeping. That was just an outstanding move, outstanding play that got a guy.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
But the other one was the Matt Chapman foul ball.
Yes.
Was fouled by about a foot with the bases loaded. Would have cleared the bases, most likely. Been a double for Chapman.
For sure.
And kept things going. Instead, the very next pitch, he grounds into a double play, inning over, and they're out of it.
But that's just baseball, though.
That's baseball, Susan.
That's just baseball, Susan. That's not even there's no decision making that can go into making sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. Though. I think the Barrios move is what lost them the game. That's the only discernible detail that was a decision making factor that, you know, had any sort of tangible
it had
result.
A direct effect on runs being scored too.
Yeah. That's the thing. It blows my mind. And so everybody else is up in arms about this, and I don't know that there's any way to do it. So despite the talent, the Blue Jays have been swept in the wild card round 3 of the last 4 years. They did not make it in 2021. So what do we think about that?
I saw a Blue Jays fan on X. This is the weird thing, Brig. I don't follow anybody who I know like outright as a Blue Jays fan on that app. But for some reason, they show up in my timeline all the time complaining about Vlad Guerrero and Alejandro Kirk and Alek Manoah all being out of shape. And then after this game, they're saying, you got to blow it up because this team isn't going to go anywhere. And I don't know if the answer is necessarily blowing it up because, like you said, there is a ton of talent on this team.
Yeah,
absolutely, a ton of talent on this team. Or fire the manager, fire the GM. Somebody's making decisions that aren't working out. I know that they all like Schneider, right? After last year, they made that run after Montoya was fired, and made the playoffs. But Phil Nevin only lasted a season and a half, and maybe there's a reason why some guys, you know, weren't the first choice for manager to begin with.
Yeah. Did you see Vlad Guerrero's comments about as long as we beat the Yankees, everything's okay? I'm still taking the season as a win. You see that?
No, I didn't. But
it's a parody.
I'm sorry, Toronto.
It's a joke. It was from a parody account. I had to see your reaction.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Toronto fans.
But it was hilarious, and the parody account comes through. I think it was I don't remember.
Is it Facts Sports?
No, but it was one like Facts,
like the Porch or whatever.
It was the New York parody, New York Sports Review, or I don't remember what they're called. Anyway, it was hilarious.